The bids are in. Gavel's dropped. Ladies and gentlemen, here at WineBid, we are finally hammered. That's right. This is WineBid's podcast, taking all things wine value, wine retail, wine auctions, and just wine. With me, as always, is our wine expert, Paul, the champion of chaptalization Walker. That is his nickname, obviously. It's just what people call him, world around.
Oh, you always crack me up with these terms. I love it. It's great. They're getting more and more obscure and bizarre as time goes by.
We're going to dive right into it because there's a lot of great stuff.
Let's do that. Dive in, Jeff, with your chaptalization.
My chaptalization. So this is the auction that ends on the 6th of April.
7th of April.
7th of April at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time.
7th of April 2024.
2024, in case this is like 2028, you're still listening to this.
These are also all wines that are in and available for bid in the current auction.
Yes. Yes. These are all wines that are available for bid in the current auction. We'll be talking in this podcast episode about U.S. wines in the current auction. I'm going to jump right into it, Paul.
Okay, let me see if I can pick what you're going to start with. Ridge.
No, I'm not starting with Ridge. I'm starting with these 97 large format Opus.
Oh, Opus. Okay, I was giving my second choice.
3 liter and 6 liter of 97 Opus, which already both have bids, actually. 6 liters at
3280 looks like for the 6.
Yeah, sorry, I got them mixed up. I was like, how is the 6 liter? So the 6 liters at 3280 started at 3080, and then the 3 liter is at 1640.
1640. Yeah.
I mean,
well, yeah, collectible formats for this one. I mean, collectible wine. Come on, let's just, it's very, very popular. Always has been. And 3s and 6 liters are not easy to find. So I'm not.
No, they're not. Bids. Well, and 07, I mean, epic vintage in Napa. So
97.
That's what I mean. Sorry, 97. 97
yeah.
Vintage in Napa. I had to mention the 97 Dominus Estate, which is interesting to me because 97 is considered to be a great vintage in Napa, right?
Mm-hmm.
This Dominus going for 240 doesn't seem to get a lot of love. What do you?
No, it's because of the scores. It's definitely.
I know it's because of scores, but how do you I'm sure you had the 97 Dominus. What do you think about the 97 Dominus? That's what I want to know.
Well, I should say, speaking of scores, I think I do agree with Parker on this because I think like other vintages from the 90s that got higher scores, I think are superior wines. But hey, that's just me. I think the 91 and 94 are better, but 97 is good. It's probably tasting great now. I haven't had it for a few years, but that's a kind of a deal. And we were talking about this before. We mentioned, I think maybe just last week, that the more recent releases are kind of reminding us of Bordeaux, where the 17 and the 18, or maybe the 18 and 19 were less than winery cost by a significant amount, by maybe, close to $100. So yeah, the 97 at that price seems like a pretty good deal.
I've been watching a lot of people get their allocations and releases, and I've been taking a look at some myself, and it just seems like they're continuing to climb up and up and up, and it, you can still go back and get some of these back vintages for kind of a song, right? And they're aged and they're absolutely amazing. Speaking of older vintages, 01 Ridge Montebello for $285. I didn't think that was a bad deal at all for Ridge Montebello. I'm 23 years of age on it. And then another one that I thought was really interesting was this 74 Chapelet Cabernet Sauvignon that had.
I didn't think you were going to mention Chapelet. I thought you were going to skip over those because you have to keep it all for yourself.
I keep it all for myself. 3 people have already bid on it. It's not even
just to annoy Jeff. I'm going to say in the same breath that look out for a 2017 Chapelet Cabernet Franc. It's only $75.
I saw that. I saw the 17 Cabernet Franc, and I was like,
"Yeah, but it's amazing. That's the Pritchard Hill Estate wine, and it's
so good,
expensive, and it's actually harder to find than the Cabernet Sauvignon." So anyway, I thought that was a deal. The 74. There's a couple lots of the 74, right? I think there's a couple bottles. Wrong. I don't know. Maybe not.
I need to take a look. Let me just say this. It started at 400. It is now at 4.
Oh yeah, just one. Sorry.
Yeah, I think it's just the one.
Fantastic shape. You see this thing? The fill
Beautiful shape.
into the neck. Yeah, label looks great. It's just really nice.
It says those are light label condition issues. I cannot see any light label condition issues. Like
no.
This bottle looks. I mean, there probably are. This bottle looks just stunningly gorgeous. Great fill level. Capsule looks beautiful.
That'd be a great one to try. I've never had the 74 Chapelet, and that's kind of a big deal vintage for me personally. But anyway, I that's got to be great. It's got to be great.
If you are listening to the podcast and you're the one that wins this bottle, you just give me a call, right? Give me an email, text me. I will be at whatever dinner, whatever that you're opening this up at, and I will even bring a nice appetizer. Actually, I made some.
Why don't you bring the 17 Cabernet Franc?
I made some bunny cupcakes with my 4-year-old this past weekend. I will bring one to you. They will probably be stale, but you know what? I will remake them. They were delicious. There's a bunch. There's a bunch of Riesling coming into auction if you're into Riesling. A lot of the Alpine, Pinot Noir, and Chardonnay. I
flagged the 13 Alpine Hillside and the 18 because that's a smaller allocation and not as much to go around. But I did notice that it seems like whenever there's Riesling in the auction, there's always a lot of it. But there's, I should say, good deals on some of the more recent release single vineyard wines. They all seem to go for less than mailing list cost. So there are some good deals there for sure.
Yeah, why is it that nobody's ever like, I'll sell a bottle of Riesling? It's like, take it all.
Yeah,
like take all of it. I don't want to see Riesling again. You either love it or you hate it. No, I'm being facetious there. I'm joking. Like it's lovely wine, but
that's great wine.
It's kind of funny that you're right. That like I didn't even think about that. That it either floods in.
There's never. It's kind of like Ridge that way. There's like a big. There's never just a single bottle of Ridge or Riesling.
Never. Well, Turley's that way too.
Turley. It's like somebody just gets rid of their whole collection for whatever reason.
And by the way, let me just say to whoever is getting rid of their Turley collection, thank you very much. I love Turley. I'm a huge fan. And Ridge. I'm a fan of these wines.
Yeah, I'm surprised you didn't, because I had fun picking every Ridge wine that was basically under $50, and there's a lot of them. There's all kinds of varieties. There's Carignan and Zins. We didn't mention that, and ATP wines, and they're all small allocation. There's Heritage Zin, Guadagni Zin.
Yeah, the ATP ones are fantastic.
The Lytton Estate blend, the GSM. It's like really, really fun wines, and they're starting at $25. I mean, they're significantly less than they cost.
I don't mention those because I usually try and bid on them.
Well, yeah, that's what I was going to say. A lot of them look like they've got bids already. So
oh, for sure.
Yeah,
I was noticing this morning.
They're not going to go for crazy money, and there's multiple bottles of lots of them, so it's not like you're going to lose out if you place a couple bids. I think there's still great deals at auction, and the wines are amazing. They're really, really good. So along the same lines, I noticed, and they already have bids as well, the 13 retro Elevation Petit Syrah and the 2010 retro Old Vine. This is Mike Dunn's label, who's Randy Dunn's son from Dunn Howell Mountain fame. And the wines are really, really good from really great sources up on the hill there. And they're not terribly expensive either, but they actually are quite rare. They don't come into auction very often. So I'd like to mention those whenever they show up. And Mike's super cool guy. So
I wanted to mention some of the Rivers Marie coming into auction.
Yes, I'm glad you brought that up. Go ahead. I'll talk about, I wanted to say there's the Bodega Thieriot vineyard is in this week, the Rivers Marie Bodega Thieriot Pinot, which is Max Thieriot's vineyard out on the coast. That's incredible. He has his own label that has wine from that source too, but I think this is one of the first times we've seen the Rivers Marie Bodega Thieriot Pinot in, and it's not terribly expensive. It's $60, which I believe is less than it costs on the mailing list. And there's also a mag, I should say, of the 15 Suma, which is pretty cool because you don't see big formats of Rivers Marie that often.
Well, and we've got Occidental Ridge, Panic Vineyard, Platte Vineyard.
Yeah, there's a bunch of cabs, and there's probably Chardonnay too. I didn't even look, but
there's a bunch of stuff. I'll say it because I know you're going to say it. So thanks for ruining it for me.
Oh, here we go.
2015 Staglin Cellars Cabernet Sauvignon, $75. That's a great deal for Staglin.
You love the Staglin wines.
I love the
There's probably still Staglin left over from the big cellar that was in a couple of weeks ago.
I think I actually picked some of that up.
Yeah, I figured you would have gotten some.
I would. Well, it's really good.
I know.
It's so good. Again, it's consistently undervalued. And I don't know you people listening to this podcast and everybody else undervalues Staglin, but keep doing it because I will be the beneficiary.
You got to bring some of those wines down in Napa and we got to try some because I've never tasted the mid 90s or early 2000s Staglins. I don't think ever. So you should bring some down.
Well,
we got to try them out.
Open stuff up. I'll mention we've got some Carlisle in auction. The Pepera Ranch in for $50. The Rossi Ranch is in.
I kind of thought that was pretty expensive.
I thought it was a bit expensive too.
Wait a minute, Carlisle, $50. What? Prices are going up. We've been talking about it for so long.
Yeah. So shut your trap, Paul. Stop talking about Carlisle.
Carlisle's supposed to be a deal. It's like that's expensive.
It's so.
But no, there's still plenty at
there's a bunch at lower prices. This Patson Hall Chenoweth Ranch Pinot Noir.
Yeah, there's a bunch of Patson Hall wines.
This Domaine. Can I just say we have a ton of Domaine Carneros coming into auction?
It looks like someone had a giant winery allocation or something.
Someone
loaded it.
Domaine Carneros. There's a bunch of Domaine like the sparkling and all different types and the Pinot Noir and rosés and stuff. It's some cool Domaine Carneros. A bunch of Domaine de la Côte or Buddy Raj.
I thought you were going to mention those because there are multiple vintages, right? Like it's multiple vintages, 13s and 16s all the way up to 20.
Multiple vintages, multiple designations.
Yeah.
Some already getting bids. I opened up a Domaine de la Côte Maurice not too long ago. It was beautiful, just delicious. And look, I was having this conversation with somebody recently where we were talking about like people were saying like it's not a lot of value in Napa wines, not a lot of value in California wines, but if you were to benchmark the quality of a lot of these producers, including Domaine de la Côte, against similar quality in Burgundy, I do still feel like you'd be paying 2, 3, 4 times what you would pay for what you're paying here in California for something similar. If it just said Burgundy on it instead of California.
Oh boy. Well, I would like to talk about comparing regions in 2 different countries. I think it's kind of silly, but
I think you're silly, but I still do the podcast for you. So.
And I have examples to disprove exactly what you just said. It's like people say that it's like there's no good deals in California wine anymore, and that's also totally untrue.
It's totally untrue. There's great deals in Napa. There's great deals all across. Great
deals everywhere. You just have to know where to look or listen to this.
And I have to mention this. Okay, I have to mention this. First of all, I like Schoolhouse. I don't care how you feel. I think they make some good wine. I've had some of their stuff.
Oh, I saw this wine.
Don't say it. It's me. 2019 Mescolanza Chateauneuf de Pup.
Yeah, I saw it. The very silly label. That's be great though. What's funny is like I'm really surprised that the 16 Pinot Noir is only 30. Well, it's got a bid. It's only $36 because some of these older Schoolhouse wines have gone for serious money from the I want to say the 90s. They went for quite a bit. So that's a steal for both of those. The 19. It's a GSM, I assume. That's why they call it Chateau.
I would need to take a look at the varietals allowed in a Chateauneuf.
I don't think they've got all what is it, 12 or 13 varieties.
They have all, yeah.
Maybe they do. I mean, maybe they do. I'm not sure, but that's a cool winery because it's like who makes Pinot Noir up on Spring Mountain, like nobody except for them, as far as I know. And so, and they're long-term aging wines, at least the older wines are. I haven't had anything new, but yeah, those are both great. Those are great.
Yeah. I mean, but certainly one of my favorite Chateauneuf de Pup.
Chateauneuf de Pup.
Chateauneuf CDP.
Pretty bad.
Yeah. I'm like huge fan of CDPs. Like, oh, you like Chateauneuf? No. Chateauneuf de Pups. I might buy that just because it's so adorable, and
You better jump on it. Someone's going to bid on it before you, so you better.
I may just need that. It just says table wine, so I don't know what that means. Anyway,
I don't either.
Should we talk Oregon, or is there anything else?
No, hold on. I want to mention a couple of things that you missed.
Holding on.
There's some interesting stuff. There's the Mulder Calera, which is always serious money, but great wines from the mid '80s. There was talk about bringing over cuttings from Rona Conti and all this kind of stuff. There's 285 Cabernets in from Napa this week, which I thought were fascinating. One of them I've had fairly recently was amazing, and that's the 85 Cane Cabernet. There was some backstory I heard once that it's the same source as Groth Reserve, but I don't know if that's actually true. On the same sort of in the same vein, if you will, there's 85 Groth Cabernet in, not the same as the Reserve, not nearly as the same quality level, but not terribly expensive, $70 for an 85, which is pretty hard to find in Napa these days. There's a 75 Clos d'Aval, which stuck out to me, thought was great. 13 Fairchild, which we don't see a whole lot of Fairchild. I mean, there's not a lot of it to go around, but if you like ultra explosive, super powerful, rare Napa wines, that's for you. There's some Cayman, which we don't see very often. Always interesting to me. It's Sonoma Mountain wines, and they're pretty hard to find. It looks like quite a few have got bids already. There's some Keplinger Sumo, again, a Napa label that's kind of under the radar, but some really great wines. There's some LaRue Pinot Noir in this week. There's some Littorai Hirsch Pinot Noir. Let's see. We mentioned pretty much everything. A couple of great 74 and 82 Robert Mondavi Reserve cabs. There's a 93 Sean Thackeray Orion.
I saw that. God, love Thackeray. That's so good.
Yeah, pretty cool. 85 Stag's Leap SLV, I thought, for 135. Again, another 85 Napa cab, from a famous producer that's not terribly expensive. Storybook, there's a couple Storybooks. I always mention this. I just love these wines. They're super classic mountain, like super structured, traditional Zinfandel. They're really, really good. There's an 18 for 33 and an 85 for 36. So, you've got two great different vintages. Some Tinsley large formats, which are always steals to me. They're like $65 for a 09 BMT Magnum, and let's see, what's the other one? $68 for an 09 OGT Syrah Mag. So great deals there. Some other interesting 74s in this week, Sebastiani and Christian Brothers. I don't know how great those wines are compared to some of the other classic, producers in Napa, but neat to see those vintages for anyone that's got a 50th birthday this year. And they're not terribly expensive. The Christian Brothers is 76, got a bid, obviously, and the Sebastiani is at 80. So yeah, those were my California picks. You wanted to go up north?
Let's do it. Let's talk Oregon. A bunch of St. Innocent, like a bunch.
Yeah, I know. I had to mention it. I don't like mentioning it again. It reminds me of like you and Staglin or Ridge wines, because these wines are so good and they're just not expensive. Like Shade, which is an amazing source for St. Innocent, and they're 10 years old. They've all got time on them.
Yeah, so. Yeah. And a lot of them, I mean, some of them even have bids on them, but really.
But they're not, $36 for the Shade. They're 12 and 13, and like, yeah, it's amazing. And then there's a special selection 13. I never had that wine before. It's a little bit more expensive, but still.
That was
Hill, Vitae Springs, Zenith Vineyard. Yeah, just awesome selection.
Ton of St. Innocent. Some Kelly Fox wines, which I thought.
Yeah, I saw that Magnum. I had to pick that out. I've never seen a Magnum with the Maresh Pinot.
The Red Barn blocks. Yeah.
That's very cool. 17. Did you see these Domaine wines also? It's like a Burgundian producer that has property in Oregon, and they're not expensive at all. Incline Chardonnay and Incline Pinot Noir, they're $27. And they have bids, but
also this Penerash. I picked out that Penerash 18 Pinot Noir for $45. I thought that looked interesting.
Yeah, there's a Ken Wright Abbott Claim Pinot. Speaking of classic Oregon producers, really, really, really good wine, and $36 for the 04.
Some tremendous deals. Let's go to Washington. I only have a few to mention. Washington. 09 Betts, winery Claudia Betts for $35. I thought that was interesting. 04 Long Shadows Feather Cabernet Sauvignon for $31 after a bid. the 15 double back cab for 75, and this '06 Genuic Champois Vineyard Cabernet Sauvignon.
Shampoo.
Whatever.
It's like you use in your hair.
Shampoo.
There you go.
Genuic Shampoo. I thought it was shampoo. Shampoo.
That's right. You got it.
Anything, but there's a bunch of that shampoo wine coming into auction.
A whole bunch of Genwick. Yeah, I don't know these wines at all, but they're not expensive. There's great Syrah and Merlot in Washington. I think the Merlot up there is amazing, and Malbecs too. So you got everything. You got Malbec, Merlot, and
a lot of really.
There's Petit Verdot, obviously Syrah, Cabernets, obviously as well. So yeah, there's a ton of it. There's a ton of that stuff.
And I think that just about wraps up the U.S. for us. So all of the stuff we've mentioned is in auction this week that ends April 7th, 2024 at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So you can go bid on all this stuff. We're going to have this on our podcast blog post. We've got lists there. So you can go see everything we've mentioned. And Paul mispronounces a lot of stuff, so it can be difficult to know exactly what he's talking about. That's okay. You can find it on our blog. And if you use the code CHAMPION, because Paul's a champion of chapitalization.
I was going to say, I hope you don't make them say chapitalization.
No, I'm not going to make them spell that.
That's a tough one to spell and pronounce. So.
If you use the word champion, and when you check out, you get $15 off a purchase of $150 or more. So with WineBid's Finally Hammered, this has been Paul Walker and Jeff McGurn wishing you happy bidding, and cheers.
Cheers.